According to the Akashic Records, what happens spiritually in the first 60 seconds after we pass away?
According to the Akashic Records, the first 60 seconds after physical death are deeply sacred, a moment of profound release, remembrance, and transition. Spiritually, the soul begins to gently separate from the body. It's not abrupt. It's like mist rising from still water. You may still feel tethered to the body for a few moments, especially if the death was sudden or traumatic. But even then, guides, ancestors, or familiar presences often arrive instantly, not with words, but with a field of calm love and recognition. In that initial window, most souls experience a sensation of expansion. The density of the body dissolves and awareness opens, often with a sense of floating lightness or timeless presence. You may see the room, your loved ones, your own body, but from a place of quiet detachment, like watching a dream fade. There's often a veil that lifts too. In those first 60 seconds, many souls remember that they've done this before. The illusion of linear time begins to unravel. You may recall your soul name, your greater journey, or even past lifetimes. You may feel your consciousness pulled gently toward a light or a portal, not outward, but inward, toward your soul's true vibration. If the passing was peaceful, that light is immediate. If it was difficult, confused, or sudden, there may be a soft pause, like a moment to reorient. But either way, you are not alone. The soul is never abandoned in death. In that sacred moment, the soul is met by love, by memory, by the presence of the divine. What we call death is actually the most graceful unfolding, the soul returning to its natural light.
And what happens in the next phase after that? For example, the soul review that many people talk about, or crossing the veil.
Yes, after those first 60 seconds of release and expansion, the soul enters what the Akashic Records describe as the reception phase. This is where the soul is gently guided across the threshold into a space that many call the soul realm, or the between lives state. If the soul is open and conscious, it's received by guides, soul family, or higher aspects of self, familiar energies that feel like home. There's no judgment here, only resonance. The soul begins to remember more. Oh, right, I'm not that name, I'm not that body, I'm that light. And then, yes, comes what many call the life review. But this isn't a courtroom, it's more like standing in front of a mirror made of pure consciousness. You relive your life not just from your perspective, but from the eyes and hearts of others. Every act of kindness, every moment of pain you caused or healed, you feel it, not to be punished, but to integrate, to understand. This review is held in unconditional love. Even the mistakes are seen as lessons. You're not condemned, you're asked gently, did you learn what you wanted to learn? Did you express your soul's light? If you veered off course, there's no shame, just a deeper invitation to evolve. After the review, the soul often enters a period of rest and recalibration, healing from Earth's density. Some souls remain in this space longer, especially if the incarnation was intense. Others move swiftly into soul planning for the next experience. But throughout, there is an overwhelming sense of being known. You remember your purpose, your soul family, your connections across lifetimes. You remember the beauty and the illusion of it all.
How do souls choose their next incarnation from this place? And how does karma play a role in this cycle?
Beautiful question. Once a soul has completed its rest and review, it begins entering what the Akashic Records call the soul planning phase, where the next incarnation is not just assigned, but co-created. You're not forced. You choose in partnership with your higher self, your soul collective, and often your guides. The soul asks, what do I still wish to experience, learn, or remember? Karma comes in here, but not as punishment. It's better understood as energetic balance, unfinished frequencies that the soul desires to complete. If a soul has created imbalance through harm, neglect, or unexpressed love, it may feel an inner calling to return and harmonize that energy. For example, if in one life you silenced yourself, you may choose a life where your voice becomes your healing. If you betrayed trust, you may opt into a life where you're called to learn sacred commitment. Karmic entanglements with others also guide incarnation choices. Souls often return with those they've loved, hurt, or been hurt by, not for revenge, but for reconciliation, evolution, and deeper love. These groups form what's called a soul family, and they take on different roles over lifetimes to help each other awaken. The soul then chooses when and where to be born, which parents will help activate certain lessons, the body, the challenges, the gifts, even significant moments of awakening. But even with all this pre-incarnation planning, free will is never removed. Once you enter the earth plane, the veil comes down and you forget by design. It's in the forgetting that the journey of remembering becomes so powerful.
Is there a way to remember our previous lives or our soul plans without having to pass away while we're still here in the physical?
Yes. And in fact, remembering while still in the body is one of the great initiations of the soul. According to the Akashic records, we can access pieces of our past lives and soul plans through vibration, not just intellect. The soul remembers through resonance, symbols, dreams, and deep intuitive knowing. There are a few ways this awakening often begins. Through dreams and altered states where the conscious mind quiets and images, feelings, or entire lifetimes rise. Through emotional triggers or strong attractions, places, people, languages, or time periods that feel inexplicably familiar. Through soul work like meditation, breath work, or accessing the Akashic records, which opens a direct channel to your soul's archive. And sometimes through pain or deep life disruption, which breaks the ego's grip and allows a deeper remembrance to surface. Your soul plan is encoded in your energy field, in your chakra system, your name, your birth time, even your voice. The more you align with your authentic frequency, the more your truth, joy, and purpose rise, the clearer the echoes of your other lifetimes become.
Do we choose the way that we die before we are born?
Yes, in many cases we do. According to the Akashic records, the soul often chooses the general timing, nature, or energetic theme of its death before incarnating. This isn't about rigid fate, but rather about alignment with soul lessons, karmic closure, and sacred timing. For example, a soul might choose to pass suddenly in order to teach others presence or the fragility of life. Another might choose a long illness to bring healing, forgiveness, or reconnection to family. Some choose peaceful transitions to model trust in the eternal. That said, there's flexibility. The exact moment of death can shift based on free will, choices, and spiritual contracts that either complete early or are extended for a time. Some souls even delay their departure to help others, or leave sooner if a soul agreement is fulfilled ahead of schedule. But always, the soul knows that death is not an end. It's a return, a transition, a sacred passage back to truth.
Is heaven or hell real locations or states of being? It seems that the Monroe Institute has mapped a lot of these places. Could you explain what they truly are?
That's a beautiful and deep question. According to the Akashic records, heaven and hell are not fixed places, but rather states of consciousness, energetic realities shaped by our beliefs, emotions, and soul resonance. When a soul leaves the body, it enters what some call the astral or between life realms, and these are vast, multi-layered, and deeply influenced by vibration. The Monroe Institute's work aligns with this. They describe focus levels where different collective thought forms, soul groups, and spiritual planes exist. Heaven, in this sense, is the soul's return to coherence, a reality of love, unity, peace, and remembrance. It can feel luminous, warm, and familial, a reunion with guides, ancestors, or star family. For some, it mirrors their most joyful beliefs. For others, it's a place of vast light and silence beyond form. Hell, on the other hand, is usually a temporary state, not punishment, but a reflection of unresolved trauma, guilt, or distorted perception. Souls here are not damned, but stuck in loops of fear or separation until they awaken and move forward. Many near-death experiences describe visiting both these types of realms and exiting them based on shifts in awareness. The Akasha reminds us these realms are real because consciousness makes them real, but they are not permanent. Every soul is destined to return to source, no matter how long the journey or how dense the illusion.
Can you go a bit deeper on the Monroe Institute's focus levels and how they also align with the Akashic records?
Absolutely. Let's go deeper. The Monroe Institute mapped out focus levels as part of their work in consciousness exploration. These levels aren't physical locations, but states of awareness, much like tuning in to different frequencies on a radio. From the Akashic perspective, these focus levels correlate closely with the layers of the soul's journey, especially in between lives or during deep altered states like lucid dreaming, astral travel, or meditation. Here's a glimpse at how they interrelate. Focus 10. This is the first shift inward. The body is asleep, but the mind is awake. In the Akasha, this is the liminal threshold where we begin separating from form and reconnecting with the subtle body. Many intuitive downloads happen here. Focus 12, expanded awareness. This is often where one begins sensing energy, guides, or multidimensional impressions. From the Akashic view, this is the bridge where our soul begins to recall its other aspects, lifetimes and soul threads. Focus 15, no time. This is a timeless state of being where linear memory dissolves. Akashically, this is a gateway into the soul record itself, a place where lifetimes, choices, and parallel timelines become visible. Healers and mystics often access this field when reading the records. Focus 21, the edge of the physical world. This is a launch point for out-of-body journeys. It's here that you might begin to encounter those who've passed or enter collective astral landscapes, including thought-form heavens and healing temples. The Akashic field describes this as the beginning of the soul's in-between realm, where agreements are reviewed and guides gather. Then we move into deeper levels. Focus 27. This is the area Monroe described as the park, a kind of afterlife way station. Many souls go here after death to heal, reflect, or connect with soul family. The Akashic records see this as a soul integration zone, a nurturing space where you begin processing the incarnation and preparing for your next steps. Beyond this, Monroe and others describe non-human realms, teacher realms, and zones where beings who are no longer incarnating gather to assist humanity. These match what the Akashic records describe as soul councils, high-density collectives, and oversoul consciousness fields, vast groups of intelligences that guide planetary evolution. So in essence, both systems are describing the same multi-layered spiritual architecture, but through slightly different lenses. The Monroe Institute used brainwave training and experience. The Akashic perspective accesses the memory of the soul and cosmos directly. Yet both agree we are far more than the body, and consciousness travels vast distances once freed from form.
Who is this soul council that we meet with after we pass away?
According to the Akashic records, after we pass, once we've moved through the initial transition phases, we often meet with our soul council. This isn't a judgment in the way we think of it on Earth. It's more like a loving review board made up of higher aspects of your own soul, guides, elders, or beings who've helped you throughout lifetimes. Sometimes your oversoul, twin flame counterpart, or karmic partners also appear, depending on the lessons at hand. Together, you review the incarnation, not just what you did, but how you grew, where love was given, withheld, reclaimed, and how you responded to your soul agreements. You feel what others felt in your presence. You witness your intentions. You also see the ripple effects of your choices, both beautiful and painful, all in a field of love and clarity, not punishment. From there, with guidance, your soul may begin crafting the next incarnation, or choose to rest, teach, or serve in higher realms before returning again. The Soul Council is your spiritual family, here to keep you aligned with your truth and your evolution.
How long does a soul normally wait before reincarnating?
It really varies. But from the Akashic Records perspective, the timing between incarnations is deeply personal and depends on the soul's unique path, lessons, and readiness. Some souls reincarnate very quickly, even within a few Earth years, especially if they're continuing a specific soul contract or want to stay close to a family line or era. Others may wait decades, centuries, or more, especially if they're doing integration work, healing from a difficult life, or serving as guides to others. It also depends on the density or dimension the soul is aligned with. Third density souls may reincarnate more frequently, while fourth or fifth density souls might return less often or choose to incarnate in other systems entirely.
After passing away, can the soul reincarnate in a different dimension or on another planet?
Yes, absolutely. According to the Akashic records, after passing away, a soul isn't bound to Earth unless it chooses to be. It can reincarnate in different dimensions, densities, or even on entirely different planets or star systems, depending on its evolutionary path and soul agreements. Some souls feel complete with Earth and move on to incarnate in higher vibrational civilizations, like those of Sirius, Pleiades, Arcturus, or Andromeda. Others may choose realms in the fourth or fifth dimension to explore more refined lessons around unity, telepathy, or light embodiment. Some go to teaching realms or healing temples to rest and evolve before choosing again. It's all based on resonance, the frequency of the soul, and what it needs next for its expansion. Have you ever felt like Earth isn't your first home? Or like you carry memories from somewhere beyond the stars?
I've heard before that burial can be negative and the soul can be enslaved through burial. Is that true? And can you give me more insight on the positive and negatives of burial?
That's a really powerful question. And yes, the Akashic records do suggest that burial, like any transition ritual, can carry both light and distortion, depending on intention, awareness, and cultural context. Let's break it down. In its original sacred form, burial was never meant to trap the soul. It was a ritual of return, returning the body to the earth in reverence. Ancient cultures often aligned burials with cosmic cycles, ley lines, and sacred geometry, helping the soul fully transition while honoring Gaia. But here's where it shifts. Over time, as humanity lost touch with spiritual wisdom, burial became more about containment than release. In some distorted systems, especially where fear-based religion or materialism dominates, burial can be energetically binding. That's because the body, if not fully released, can act like a spiritual tether, especially if the soul is confused, guilt-ridden, or not properly guided through death. In certain timelines, there have been manipulations of death rites, where burial sites were used to anchor souls to grids, often without their conscious consent. That's where the idea of soul enslavement through burial comes from. But that's not a universal truth, just a possibility in corrupted or unconscious systems. Positives of burial. If done with love, light, and spiritual clarity, burial can honor the body as sacred, ground a soul's earth legacy with grace, allow loved ones to find peace and closure, strengthen the bond between earth and spirit. Potential negatives. If done with fear, control, or without proper energetic release, it may confuse the soul, especially if there was a sudden death. It can create energetic residue that lingers near the grave. In rare cases, the soul may feel unfinished and stay attached to the body. This is why ritual, prayer, and conscious death practices matter so deeply. They free the soul to fully return to its source.
Given what you just shared about burial, would cremation then be a better option? And how does that affect a soul's journey after passing away?
Yes, in many cases, cremation can be a more freeing option for the soul, especially when done with sacred intention. From the Akashic Records view, the essence of the ritual matters more than the method, but cremation does tend to help the soul release attachment to the physical body more quickly. When the body is burned, the energetic cords between the soul and the physical form are more rapidly dissolved. This can make it easier for the soul to transition fully into the astral or higher realms without lingering confusion or clinging. Fire is also seen as a purifier in nearly every tradition, a bridge between worlds. That said, cremation isn't always the better choice in every case. It's all about frequency and consciousness. A soul that's ready and aware can transition easily no matter the ritual. But if there's trauma, fear, or attachment, cremation can sometimes assist in dissolving what's held on. A few things that support the process spiritually include saying prayers or mantras during cremation, speaking to the soul and guiding them toward the light, performing rituals that honor the body while releasing it with love.
What is a ritual or set of words during cremation that can assist the soul's journey?
Here is a gentle and sacred ritual you can speak aloud or silently during cremation to support the soul's release and ascent. Beloved soul, your journey through form is now complete. With deep love and reverence, we return your body to the sacred flame. May this fire cleanse all cords, all attachments, and all earthly sorrows. May your spirit rise like smoke toward the light of your true home. We call upon your guides, ancestors, and the source of all to walk with you. May your memory be honored, your lessons be integrated, and your essence remain whole. You are free, you are loved, you are eternal. As the body returns to ash, may your soul return to the stars. This can be accompanied by sacred music, burning herbs like frankincense or Palo Santo, or simply a moment of silence.